Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello to you and welcome back to the channel where you join me today to take a first look at the brand new McLaren Speedtail. Now this must be one of the most anticipated cars of the last 2 decades. A return to a 3-seater McLaren, the fastest McLaren ever produced. Now the covers have just come off at a media preview and I can now take you on a tour to take in some of the details of this 250 mile per hour 3-seater Hyper GT. So let's check out the new McLaren Speedtail. Here we go then, the newest member of McLaren's flagship Ultimate series. We can take a walk around and take this in. I'll tell you some of the highlight features before we go into things in more detail later on, but it arrives really paying tribute to the legendary status of the McLaren F1 back in the 90s with its iconic 3-seat configuration, and really this has come about due to customer demand. It was originally under the codename BP23, standing for Bespoke Project 2 3-seater, but now it's been named the Speedtail and we can take this in. So just explore it, look at the sleekness, the smoothness of the design. Clearly a long car, you can see where it inherits its name, but this is about being smooth through the air, aerodynamics, and we'll just take in some of the main features. You'll notice there are barely any panel lines. There are some very, very large panels used to minimize the air disruption that would come from panel gaps. Take a look at the canopy and the glass that folds and wraps around over the top of the car. Large glass panels again for the same reason. You'll also notice there are no door mirrors. You have door mirrors that pop out of the side here, and you have screens on the inside of the car to give you visibility again. Why introduce drag when you don't need it? Things like the covered wheels to control airflow around the side of the car, because remember, this is the fastest McLaren ever. Top speed 250 miles an hour demands to be sleek, and you see that in every single way as we walk around it. Just the uniqueness of the design, a long car, 5 meters and 20 centimeters or so, but this really low rear end, which comes to the back, where you have these 2 very clever flaps at the back, known as the ailerons. You have flexible carbon fiber. So there's an actuator that will raise it and raise both sides together to give you more downforce and control, updating live, constantly varying to keep the car planted at the rear end. The reason for this shape is airflow over the teardrop cabin and under the car to meet and match up at the back, and of course the signature feature of the 3 seats, which we'll get into in a moment. But just the design, it is McLaren. You see that in the headlights, you see that in the shapes of the rear arches, but it's completely new. This member of the Ultimate series sitting alongside the Senna, but serving a very different purpose. This, well, where the Ultimate series started with the P1, the Pioneer, the Senna is then the ultimate track car for the road. This is the ultimate road car, the fastest car with more than 2 seats, as a 3-seater with luggage space as well. But let's give you some numbers. Obviously, a lot of them are being held back for now, but a few that we do know. 1,050 horsepower, 0 to 300 kilometers an hour in just 12.8 seconds. To give you some perspective, the P1 was 16.5 and the Senna is 16.8 with the additional drag thanks to its aero. So it's almost 4 seconds quicker to 300 kilometers an hour, and it will go on to a top speed of 403 kilometers an hour. That's 250 miles per hour. You have to remember that the F1 itself only achieved a top speed of 242. So this is a fantastically quick car to drive out on the road, and remember, this specification needs to be able to achieve that speed, but also be driven around the city, be used as a car. It's a Grand Tourer. You can go for a drive in it, use it to go to the opera, whatever it may be. Now, we don't know too much about the powertrain. It's a hybrid. It makes over 1,000 horsepower, where the P1 made 916 in total. It's going to have that electrical system to help with that, which means the weight of the car is 1,430 kilos. It's almost entirely carbon fiber from the tub to the body panels, and quite a clever version of carbon fiber at that, which we can see in a moment. There are going to be 106 of them in total, already completely sold out. The reason for 106 is to match the same number of Speedtails to the entire production run of the legendary McLaren F1, including all of the different variations. Now it starts at £1.75 million plus taxes which means here in the UK, it's £2.1 million, but you can expect that every single car is going to be completely bespoke and unique in its configuration. Now, to focus in on some of the details up closer, let's talk about the design and start right here around the front. So like other McLaren models, you have this hammerhead line that runs across the front to a smooth curve in the center. That gives it the initial presence from the very front, flanked by the eyes, which have that familiar shape akin to the Speedmark McLaren logo. And if we come round here, actually, you've got a vertical daytime running light up the outside with the main headlights at the top, but you'll also notice the airflow that can go straight through and is directed around the side of the car. A lot of the aerodynamics of this are hidden discreetly inside the bodywork, so the front is fairly closed up overall, as you can see. But on the bonnet, you have these intake ducts just here, which bring the air through into the wheel well and then direct it down the side, so you can have clean air flowing around the car where it's required. And even if we come right to the front, you have that too going in through the front of the car, and no doubt lots of complicated trickery underneath as well, because at those kind of speeds, you need it to stay as planted to the ground as possible. Coming right down to the front here, you have this titanium deposition carbon fibre, so it's 1K carbon fibre, as opposed to the more familiar 3K, which basically means smaller fibres that are stronger and lighter. That's used throughout the car, and something I really quite like, the heritage-style McLaren badge. Take a look at this. That's actually white gold, and you can even see the hallmark at the top of it, finished with a pattern style weave to the carbon fibre inside that. So basically, everything's done in a slightly more luxurious way than would be the case, say, with the McLaren Senna. More around to the side of the car then, on the front axle you have the fixed wheel covers that you have here. This is again for controlling airflow around the car and ensuring basically it's as smooth as possible. So those cover the 20-inch wheels at the front, we've got 21-inch wheels at the rear, but you get the sensation they're much larger than that just due to how small the bodywork is that surrounds them. And you can also see here the openings again for airflow around the car. We get around the side where you have that haunch, that rear arch line that runs all the way, that also houses these shoulder intakes towards the high temperature radiators that you find inside. Of course, the power plant is going to need some cooling. It might end up being the twin turbocharged V8s, presumably a derivative or development of that. But even down at the very side, actually, you can see stuff is going on here for airflow through, for cooling. And remember, this is a very, very early car. In fact, we don't normally get to see cars like this early in their life cycle. It's still very much a model as opposed to a production vehicle, but just to be able to explore it. And we haven't even yet really talked about the rear of this. Just look at the extension of it, how much it hangs out at the back, but then it actually raises up, so it won't be too difficult to drive out on the road. But again, look at the openings, look at here, how you can see basically in towards the tyre, the airflow can come out towards the back. And then down at the diffuser, check out the exhaust, one on each side, slash cut like that. It's going to make quite a different sound to previous McLarens, but again, we've got that shape for the airflow through to the back, where we've got this really, really low rear end above the two LED tail lights on either side, and the Speedtail name written there in the center. To come forwards, the car actually has two boots. So one of them is back here, one is at the front, and they total to 162 litres of luggage capacity, and that's when you have 3 occupants inside the car, otherwise you can use one of those seats. So there is a lot of storage space available in this, but again, it's also about symmetry. You can see that from here with that central vertical brake light that you have, the upper brake lights, but all of the design work very much matched from one side to the other, whether it's the fuel filler cap and I believe the electrical charging port, but you can see the way the perforation is done in this carbon here that you have, again, for cooling to come out. You've got a snorkel here, airflow in through the car, integrated into the design, smooth, seamless. Those same words again, pretty much everywhere we look. And then that canopy, the glass canopy, the large panels that you have. It's also got the electrochroming, so it can go darker and lighter. Here at the top at the front, also the roof panels, the rear panels, and you've got the lower cut door windows like the F1, of course saving packaging, saving weight as a result. And then you come and we can look at the inside, press of the button, Motorised doors that open, the traditional McLaren style hinged from the roof, but we're greeted by this interior, the 3-seat configuration, that central driving position, and you will see this is a mixture of luxury technology but still sportiness that you expect to find in a McLaren car, particularly one capable of these speeds. So just like the F1, you have the central seat flanked either side by additional seats which are literally directly part of the carbon fibre tub. It's a new tub that's had to be created to house that configuration, but that view that you would have out towards the front, armed with digital displays, the McLaren style steering wheel, but new leathers, new aniline leathers that are used everywhere that you look around, very, very soft touch. You've got different driving modes to the ones we've seen before, so the screen is currently showing us in velocity mode. You have comfort, sport and velocity in this car, your different driving modes, all shown through the central display screen, and then either side of that you have your controls. So to the left you have your car controls, to the right you have your media controls, and then up on the roof you will see some of your other configurations and buttons, your active dynamics panel where you choose the different driving modes, your DNR selector, the button to go into velocity mode as well, and the buttons to open and close the doors themselves can be found up there, as well as the windows. So either side of the dash you have the screens that will show us the view from the cameras when they pop out of the side, but the doors are hinged, they give you easy access. In fact, one of the things with the F1 is the way the seat was positioned, you had quite a hard job to climb over the kind of central tunnel to actually get in. In this car, it's much, much easier with quite how open it is. Inside you have storage options, so underneath each passenger seat you have a storage bucket here if you want to pop the high heels in there or something like that. Down towards the front you've got these multi-purpose meshes, the speakers are there, the ventilation is there, they're also kind of footsteps as well. The pedals we can see in the centre, no information about the gearbox, but I do notice we have brand new paddles rather than the traditional carbon fibre extended shift paddles. But just look around at the inside of this, glass everywhere, open, that airiness feeling, a comfortable inviting feeling. And the new seats, the carbon seats, the plaque for the Speedtail worn at the back, which will presumably identify which of the 106 cars it is. Also a central piece of glass as well, right above the driver. So you'd have a complete feeling of openness. And these seats are straight in the tub. They are pads attached to the tub itself, to the carbon fibre tub. So you look around here, what a magnificent cabin that is. What an experience it would be to drive in a modern vehicle with that central seating position, unlike anything else. And I can also see we've got the Bowers & Wilkins sound system, but really everything about this is just so very different. Familiar McLaren traits, but a new look at what a new category, a new hyper GT segment that the market has now got available to it. But there we have it really, a first ever look at the brand new McLaren Speedtail. No doubt we're going to be seeing much more of this as time passes. All I can tell you for now though is it's fantastically exciting, the future for what this holds and what it must be like to drive. There are 106 very, very lucky people out there who are going to enjoy these an awful lot when their cars get delivered, who can enjoy sitting in that central position, driving with those displays, with the displays for the cameras flanked on either side, being able to just take it in, just look at it. We haven't really spent too long emotionally, I would say, looking at this, just giving you some details from a quick introduction I've had to the car myself. There's a lot more that no doubt I don't know at this stage and I can't tell you, but the things that I've been able to run over will no doubt be quite impressive to hear. They certainly have been for me, and I need to take all of this actually in myself. But walking around, it's a long car, longer wheelbase, over 5 meters of length when a traditional McLaren might be just under 5 meters, maybe 4 meters, 74 meters, 80. You look at everything, look at this carbon fibre, look at these lights that run across the back, the McLaren logo there, but the entire design of it, every single detail is considered, thought about, worked on to make it as impressive as possible. No doubt ginormous brakes as well to stop from the capabilities, the performance that it's going to offer. Remember, it's not a track car, it's not a car that's designed to say go around a racetrack like the Senna. This is a car that is designed to be driven on the roads as well as have the ability to go up towards those top speed figures. And with the doors open like that view of the inside, it is certainly something incredibly special to actually behold. But I think for now, I need to wrap this one up. Thank you ever so much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this first look at the McLaren Speedtail, and I look forward to sharing more with you in the future with this car or with a production version when it's finished. That's it for now though. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch up with you again very soon. Cheers.